Welcome, low ego action heroes. This is Debbie Levitt from deltacx.com. We're a full service CX and UX consultancy, and welcome to our Friday stream. We do this every Friday at about 6:30 p.m. Italy time, because I'm in Italy. And welcome to Practicing Critical Thinking. Today is April 29, 2022, and we've got lots of wacky stuff lined up that you've sent in. If you would like to send something in, you can find the link at deltacx.com/links. Just go there and you'll find everything you want to know about the stream. And of course, please do subscribe on YouTube. We are creeping up to 5,000 subscribers. And so if you are not subscribed and YouTube says 60% of you are not, please subscribe and tell a few friends about the channel. Hey, Elvina, happy Friday. Also, special thanks to all of the people who are financially supporting the channel through a YouTube membership. It is totally optional, but always appreciated. I reinvested in my streaming software, and I eat a lot of chocolate chips. In fact, too many lately, as you can tell from how I look. Hi, Abby. So thanks to everybody who is helping the show out financially, though again, optional. Okay, so we've got lots of stuff lined up for you, and let me flip over to my screen so that we can check out what's been going on. All right, let's see. Is this the right button? Yes. Okay, so you've got me and the chat room and the optional tip jar and my private browser. So here we go. We've got something else from Andy Budd. I'm not too sure why anybody bothers sending me Andy Budd stuff. I get the feeling he's not going to be happy until he's personally killed UX. So here's something he's just written: the slow but inevitable demise of UX design. And obviously right there, that comes off to me somewhat clickbaity. I'm going to go with clickbaity on that. Elvina says, how can I contribute to your chocolate chips consumption? Well, we really shouldn't. I need to lose some weight. But if you would like to join the YouTube Low Ego Action Heroes, you can just go to YouTube, and on our channel page, it'll say join, and you'll have some options there. It's as little as $3 American per month, and that definitely buys chocolate chips. So that's one way you can do it. Hi, Anna. Happy Friday. I'm not even going to read too much of Andy Budd's stuff because I find it to be just universally kind of destructive. Again, I feel like he's not happy until he personally contributes to the demise of UX. And I think he's Jared Spool's buddy, and that kind of makes sense because Spool makes a lot of money from selling people on everybody can do UX, and let me come train your company to let agile team members and everybody do UX, so who knows? And I also noticed, even just from the first paragraph of this, that it just didn't seem like a very compelling story. I didn't even want to read past the beginning of it, because he said, when I started Clearleft in 2005, we were arguably the first UX agency in the UK. Okay, he drew me in with that. Really? Are you that much of a pioneer? But then I'm thinking about Larry, who's doing UX in 1991, and Don Norman, who's doing it in the 80s, and I'm thinking about Darren, and I'm thinking about myself, and I'm thinking 2005 seems awfully late to claim to be a pioneer, but okay, let's keep reading. And he says, sure, there are folks practicing various elements of user-centered design and dedicated research agencies and IA agencies and visual design agencies, and but they hadn't brought these things together, calling it user experience design. And I'm thinking, oh, this is incredibly cherry-picked to try to make this guy sound like some sort of pioneer. And really, I'd never heard of him until y'all started sending him in on the reaction streams. Hi, Ian. So to me, he's not anybody, and I'm definitely not interested in reading an article from a guy who's always writing and tweeting about the demise of UX design, because if he's not helping to save us from that future, then what's the point? This would just be clickbait. And he tries to tell you the story of, oh, UX was just so great, and now we've got agile and lean, and everybody's got an opinion, and it's going to be a diminished role. And notice he ends not by saying it's an inevitable demise. It's going to be diminished, and the spirit of UX is around. So he undoes his own clickbait article. I don't know why y'all send me Andy Bud. You should have enough critical thinking to be able to handle this one yourself without sending it to me. But if you think you need me on this, I guess that's why I'm here on Fridays. Anybody in the chat room have anything they want to add to this ridiculousness? 2005. All right. Next, oh, hi, Adair. How you doing? Good morning. There's always someone trying to kill off a particular field. Yeah, I blocked a guy on LinkedIn a couple of years ago. He was a product manager, and he just kept writing articles about how UX wasn't necessary, and UX is going to go away, and and he became Mr. Design Sprint. Chances are you're seeing him in your LinkedIn as a big proponent of design sprints, though I won't name him. And he was Mr. Design Sprint. We don't need UX. We can all design stuff. And eventually he wrote a Medium article where he actually told some of his own origin story, not that he's a superhero. And he talked about how he had worked in UX at some point but got fired and like never went back to UX. And I was like, oh, so you're bad at UX and now you're trying to kill it? Block, not interested. Hi, Ada. Okay, let's move on. We've got a handful of things today and a limited amount of time. So here's Lawton. And again, I don't know him that well. Sometimes I agree with him. Sometimes I disagree with him. I think I disagree more than I agree. But this one was interesting because at first I honestly couldn't tell what he was writing about. And then when I got to the end, I said, oh, that's what he's writing about. So I think this is an okay article that isn't written very well. So let's go through it and I'll show you what I think he means, though again, if he's not here, he can't tell us. So this is called Giving the Elevator Pitch for Your UX Research Case Study, How to Tell a Compelling Story That Quickly Answers These Key Questions. Steph says even supervillains have origin stories too. Yeah, that would be Spool and some other people. So now, for those of you not familiar with the term elevator pitch, it's often used in, especially in startups and sales and business. And the idea is you're in an elevator with your ultimate client or investor, potential client, potential investor. You know, you've got 15 seconds before the elevator gets to your floor and one of you is going to leave. What do you say to them to see if you can get them interested in talking more to you? So it's called an elevator pitch, not because there's motion or because there's an elevator, but because you have like 15 seconds to get something compelling across. So that's an elevator pitch. And my first thought was, why am I elevator pitching UX research case studies? This doesn't make sense. And we just did a show on portfolios and we talked about how to use accordions to build more information into your portfolio for people like me who want to hear more of that story. So I couldn't figure out where this was going. So he's saying, imagine you have 30 seconds with a hiring manager to make a case for yourself. Don't tell your life story or detail everything or go through your career journey. You have to establish where you can provide value and why. I think that depends on the question you've been asked. When I say to someone, hi, what's your background? I don't expect to get the elevator pitch he's proposing. I expect to get your background. So maybe it's the mini version of your life story. But basically, if you find this article and it's on Medium, you can just search Giving the Elevator Pitch for Your UXR Case Study. I'll try pasting it into the YouTube chat. Let's see if that works. So ultimately, he's basically saying, and I think he has a good point, when you are being asked questions in interviews, have something ready to go, not over-rehearsed or over-memorized, but know, and we talked about this on the channel before, I think in episode 128, talked about how you have to be ready with a couple of super short stories, 30 seconds, 1 minute, whatever, to answer someone's question. Because they might say, tell me about the best project you've ever worked on. Tell me about the project you're most proud of. Tell me about a time where things didn't go quite right. You've got to have some stories ready. So he's talking about formatting it like this. What was the problem? What did you do? And what was the impact? Now, this seems a bit obvious, but it's a good reminder to format your story in this way and to have this short version so that if then, as we learned in episode 128, you can say, would you like more detail about that? Or would you like to hear more of that story? And then you have to be ready to tell that story. So I would say, I don't think this article is bad. It just wasn't at first clear to me why you're doing an elevator pitch, but it sounds like he's trying to tell you to get ready to have compelling short answers for questions in interviews. That's my impression. The medieval meme generator. That was good. So many swords in people's heads. Any other thoughts or comments from the chat room about this article or what they're seeing here in this article? I'd give it a few dogs. It's not the best article ever, but he's got an okay point that reminds us to be prepared with short, compelling stories for our interview. And I would say this is true for design as well as research. So this article's not so bad for a change. Yay. I'm going to move on while everybody continues writing some of their comments. And by the way, while you're commenting, please let me know how my microphone is sounding, because some of you know I've swapped out my microphone from my Audio-Technica AT4040 to my Shure SM7B, and I'd like to know how it is sounding. Elvina says, reminds me of the STAR method people use for interviews. Yeah, I can't remember what STAR stands for right now, but I know I've heard of that as well. All right. Okay, so here's Ko on LinkedIn, and I think I'm following him, but I'm not connected to him. I don't really know him. I think he usually says interesting things. I don't always agree with him. Ader says, would this be somehow related to research nuggets or information nuggets? I think so. I think if the nuggets are the most compelling pieces of information about your research project, then they could be nuggets. Hi, Michael. This article is indeed a classic HR interview answer. Okay, very good. Okay, so Ko wrote about a week ago, UX designer not leveraging visual design is like a cook that doesn't use salt. And I remember staring at that for a while because it didn't strike me as true. And then I had to ask myself, because it's critical thinking stream, what do I think he means and what is he shooting for here? Because, funny enough, I don't use salt. So I rarely eat salt. I don't use salt. I hate when food is salty. I grew up with a biological father with high blood pressure. We couldn't eat anything that had salt in it, so I just grew up without a taste for salt. So my thought was, all right, I cook without salt, and I'm not a visual designer. What's he saying? I don't know. What does this mean? Does this mean he thinks I'm not a UX designer or a terrible cook or both? I wasn't too sure what he was saying here. So I didn't react to it. I didn't press anything. I didn't respond to anything. And also, on my usual scale of meaningful, actionable, and helpful, I didn't think it was any of these things. It was not like you could read this and then go, oh man, I've got to go do this thing. So I didn't think it was meaningful, actionable, or helpful, which made me think it could have been a little bit clickbaity. But I just found myself saying, I'm not too sure what he's talking about. Elvina says maybe he thinks the design would be tasteless. Yeah, again, if we don't know, then his writing might be unclear, at least to some of us. Maybe some people got this, some people are like, oh yeah, whatever. But ultimately, I wasn't too sure what this meant. I wasn't too sure if this was an insult to me. I wasn't too sure what I was supposed to go and do about this, because I'm a UX designer and I'm not a visual designer. And I'm a cook who doesn't use salt. Now what? Ta-da! I'm not too sure. So thanks to whoever sent it in. Maybe you knew what it meant. Maybe you were hoping I could figure it out. I don't know. But for whatever reason, a lot of people liked it. He got a lot of hearts on this one. Not too many comments, but a lot of reactions. I'm still not too sure what he means. So if this statement is helpful to you in some way, that's fantastic. I'm not able to give this too many dogs today because I can't tell what he means. Buenos dias to Darren. Hi, Darren. All right, we're going to move on to the next one. This one is from Nadia. I think I've recently connected with Nadia, but I don't know her that well. And she's got a podcast, and I think she's invited me on it. So I guess I'll get to know her better. She's still new to me. When this post was written, I did see it. I did not react to it at the time. I didn't press like, and I didn't respond. And I'll tell you why. Michael says, this is not meaningful or actionable helpful. It's meh, not ma. Very cute. Put a trademark symbol on that. So I'm going to read what Nadia's written out loud, and then let's get our critical thinking hats and ask some questions and talk it out and see what we think is going on here and where there's value in here and where it might not be as valuable. Oh, Ian says, I guess it has merit at some superficial level. Everyone likes when the visuals look the part, but I want to see a structure that's helping with the task involved. For sure. Okay, so Nadia says, why UXers think they didn't get the job. Nobody's hiring brand new designers, mostly true. The AMS spit out their resume, not likely. They already have a candidate in mind. They don't have the right education. Why hiring managers think they didn't get the job. They don't have the bandwidth to support someone without any experience of working within the product team. Their resume barely highlighted their UX experience or background. In fact, they co-branded themselves as a UX designer, researcher, personal stylist. Made that up, not talking about anyone in particular. They applied to the wrong level position. This, again, please read. They didn't show that they had the right skill set. How would you fix this? Real-world experience through any project, team-based volunteer UX initiatives, cold call startups, find an amazing recruiter, build your own tool. I did the fourth one. I was recruited literally into UX after I posted a gamified prototype I had designed and later sold it via interest on LinkedIn. It was a hefty prototype, hundreds of screens, very detailed, made in PowerPoint. No joke, start somewhere. So how do y'all respond to what's going on in this post? I'm going to take a drink while I wait for you to write because I know we're about 30 or 40 seconds behind. Today I'm having watered down pineapple juice, no sugar added. Yes, there's no sugar added pineapple juice where I live. What do y'all think of this? I hope you're typing. I'd love to hear what people think before I have something to say about this. And then we've got two more to look at, and that'll be our show. I'll talk quickly about what's coming next week while you put some chats up there. Let's see. We've got Think Out Loud on Monday. I think we're continuing from 2 weeks ago. Tuesday, of course, is Office Hours Ask Me Anything with special guest John N.A. Brown. Thursday is our Slack monthly networking on AirMeet. Just join our Slack at deltacx.link/join Slack, and you'll see it in the live events channel. And of course, next Friday, critical thinking. Okay, Michael says, Debbie, can you hide the ma symbol? The post is hidden. Oh, I didn't even know that was still up. I'm so sorry. I can't see it. Okay, so this is what I see. I don't see the overlays. I just see my screen and the chat room. I don't see myself. I don't see the tip jar. I don't see the overlays I've put on. I'm so sorry. I'm not seeing that until I flip back to vMix, and then I go, oops. But if I flip back to vMix because I'm sharing my screen, then everybody is looking at vMix. You're all looking at this and going, oh, that's a nightmare. What's Deb doing? Yeah, sorry about the graphic, everybody. I didn't realize it was still there. I sometimes need you to produce the show along with me. Anyway, as you are writing some of your comments, I will start giving you some of mine. So first of all, there's like 12 different topics going on here. I think there's a lot of different things going on. Let's break it down. So why do UXers think they didn't get the job? Nobody's hiring brand new designers. Mostly, this is unfortunately true. We're not seeing internships and apprenticeships. We're too often seeing just train the agile team or just train the product managers. That training should be going to UX apprentices and interns. And as usual, I'd like to thank Jared Spool and people like that for ruining the possibility of UX juniors getting jobs, since he's out there teaching just train the agile team to do UX. The AMS spit out their resume. Nadia says not likely. I say likely. I say when these systems don't see the right keywords or skills or levels of stuff, it could be an automation issue. It could be that the resume was auto-rejected. So she says not likely. I say maybe. They already have a candidate in mind. Sometimes true, but I would say rare. Darren says, I remember that post. I think I left a comment. Can't remember. I liked the soberness the post promotes. All right. They don't have the right education. Maybe. I don't usually reject people for education. I'm looking at their portfolio to see if they have any skill. So maybe. Now, why would hiring managers say people are not getting jobs? The hiring managers and the team don't have the bandwidth to support someone without any experience of working within the product team. That's true. Very often you hear that we don't have the bandwidth to support someone who is new to UX. We're not going to train you, mentor you, coach you, teach you, but then they go and teach the product managers. So again, I cannot make sense of this and I cannot forgive it, and I'm going to keep talking about it until the UX leaders out there say, holy shit, I have to stop training product managers and start training UX juniors. Michael says, everyone has a good human inside, but not a good UX designer. Jared disliked this comment. That's funny. Y'all know that the last time I caught Jared stealing from me, I wrote a comment under the theft on LinkedIn, and Jared pressed liked on it. When I said, hey, Jared stole this from me, Jared pressed like. I took a screenshot of that. So let's see what else she says. The resume barely highlighted their UX experience or background, or they tried to make themselves sound like a jack of all trades. I'm not sure that's why people are not getting the job. Again, it's possible, but I don't think that's the most likely. Steph said, there was no post to start with because some companies leave fake offers to show they're dynamic in hiring and gathering CVs just in case. Right, that in some cases that is also true. Elvina says, why do PO companies refuse to invest some time to teach companies? Why do companies refuse to invest time to teach promising candidates? Because they think that if they put time into new UX people will take that training and then leave and go to another company. That's mostly what I hear when I ask, why aren't we doing this? And I guess we imagine the product managers are staying. And they didn't show they have the rights. They applied to the wrong level position. This is very true. I've been talking for weeks about how we have this open senior researcher job where I'm consulting right now, and we're looking for 5 or more years of experience, and someone who graduated General Assembly in December sent in their application. And I was just thinking, on what planet are you a senior researcher? So I would say this is very true. And they didn't show they had the right skill set. That's a cousin of this, also very true. Now, how do you fix this? This is where I disagreed. Hello, Kenem. I feel like the industry is changing by hiring junior designers, but a lot of the new designers are only looking to stay around 6 months and then move to a mid-level position. Yeah, that's not quite true. Mid-level is usually 2 years or more. If a company is giving people mid-level titles early, then, that's if the company wants to do that, they can, but I don't recommend it. So how do you fix this? In my opinion, I think she really missed how you fix this. But to me, the juniors can't fix this because they don't have the power. They don't hold the cards here. Those of you looking for your first job, you can't fix this because it's the system that's broken, not you. You didn't break it. You can't fix it. So it really has to be fixed by leaders saying, holy cats, why do we keep training product managers and developers to do UX work when we should be bringing in UX juniors? Let's stop training let product managers be product managers, let developers be developers, let's bring in some UX juniors and put our training towards them. That's the main way you fix this. She says real world experience through any project, team-based volunteer UX initiatives. Yes and no. I found that most of these are really low quality. Many of them are not UX work at all. They're marketing, and in some cases they're web design. Hey, make us a better landing page. No research, no testing. Okay, that's just web design. That's not going to end up a good UX portfolio project. So be careful of some of these things, whether they're free or paid. A lot of these things that people are doing out there thinking it'll go in their portfolio or be good practice. It's not great practice if nobody's looking over your work and you don't know if you're doing well or not. Cold call startups. And again, you can get a startup job, but then y'all are crying to me in LinkedIn messages and Slack messages saying, I'm in over my head. I'm the only UX designer at this startup. They're expecting me to design this whole product or app or system, and I've never done this before. I've just been watching Udemy videos for a few months. I don't know what to do. And there's nobody here who's helping me. People keep telling me, oh yeah, I went into a startup to get my first UX job and I figured they were going to support me and help me and there's nobody here but me. And I say, and how come you didn't find that out in the interview? So we've got to use interviews to understand the environment we're going into. If you are expecting a supportive environment with people who are part-time dedicated to helping you, then the startup is probably not the right place, because chances are if they hire you because you cold called them, you might be the only UX person there. Darren says junior and mid-level dominated teams lack internal mentoring prowess and capacity. I think Nadia's going to love your take on things. I don't know if she will. I'm semi-disagreeing with her. Hopefully she's comfortable with that. Find an amazing recruiter. I do agree. I think great recruiters can help tell your story and help you find that first job. But of course, right now there's more people looking for a job than there are great recruiters. Oh, by the way, this isn't up on the screen right now, but we had it in the Slack channel. Google opened up an internship, and one of the requirements was you can't have taken the Google Coursera design course. I kid you not. That was one of the requirements. You can't have taken it already. Now, maybe that's because they want you to take it, but to say you can't have taken it or started it, oh my gosh, that's 300,000 people who cannot apply for this Google internship. It was wild, wild. Did y'all see that? It was in the Slack channel, I think under the jobs thing. Hi, Elliot. And finally, she says, build your own tool. I did. It worked for me. And I think that that's a little bit of a cherry-picked example. Just because she happened to build a tool and get some attention for it and evidently sell it is great for her. And I certainly support the experience that she had. But I think we have to be careful of, if I can do it, you can do it too. And the example that I like to give is, I used to work in the music business and I worked with a lot of celebrities. Now, many people starting out in the music business, it was my first music business job and I got to work with celebrities. I would say most people's first music business job is probably not going to be to work with celebrities. So it wouldn't make sense for me to say, well, if I can get my first music business job and work with big famous international celebrities, so can you. It's really unlikely. It's possible, but it's unlikely. So like Nadia's story, is it possible that you could make a prototype with hundreds of pages because you invented your own tool and then turn that into a job or even a sale of a business idea? Possible, but probably not likely. Darren says, lots of folks are so focused on getting that UX gig, they're willing to be blind during the interview process. Ader says, what? Darren says, ROFL, the hypocrisy of Google is hilarious. Larry says, can you describe how to find the right UX recruiter? I haven't found one yet. Yeah, you know, I've had good luck with some people from Aquint, not sponsored. That's been some good experiences that I've had, but that was a very long time ago. So ultimately, I think Nadia's got some good points here, but I feel like her call to action of go invent something is not going to work for most people. So my advice to everybody else is keep learning, keep practicing, get that mentor, get that coach, and make sure you're getting feedback every step of the way, hopefully weekly or more often on your work, so that you are becoming more skilled. So that's what I would say. We've got two more. Anna says, HR managers. We don't have any senior UX UI designers, which is why it doesn't work for us to hire a junior. I can't speak for other firms who have seniors that could hire and train juniors. It's like, yeah, you don't have any seniors because you don't have any juniors. Like you've got, you didn't even hire people and then let them get promoted on their way up. Ian says, there are definitely projects that have landed on my desk that aren't UX UI and largely visual design. Would I include them in my portfolio or interview? Yes, provided I documented or discussed them as such. If you are trying to have a portfolio that is some or all visual design, they could go in your portfolio, but if I'm looking for your UX work, I'm probably not going to look at your visual design work. If I'm looking for you for a UX job that's also visual design work, then I might look at it, but ultimately, put the projects in your portfolio that match what you want to do. Like, my music business stuff isn't on my resume anymore or in my portfolio. It's not what I want to do. I hope that helps. Okay, next, somebody sent this in, I assume for the comedy. This is a UX research manager in Dublin. Now, of course, I can't apply to this. I'm not in Dublin, but it's at Udemy. And I thought that, I don't know why someone sent this in. I'm assuming it's because of what happened recently between me and Udemy. That's my guess. Other than that, this seemed like a pretty typical job description. You're going to build a team. You're going to coach your team. You're going to evangelize the value of UX research. You're going to streamline processes. You're going to provide guidance. You're going to scale the team. You're going to collaborate with other people in UX and market research. And we see this role as 80% management, but 20% hands-on. That's a little bit of a red flag for me because in general, I think a manager should be managing and not doing the work. I think if you're doing a little work in the name of coaching and teaching, that's not too bad. But if you're a manager, you need to spend your time in the kind of strategic, operative, administrative world and not doing the work. It's hard to do 20% of your time work. If we have 30 hours a week and you're doing 20% of your time, that's what, 6 hours a week? That's a very small amount of time. So, Larry says, I've also seen UX director posts where they're looking for their first UXer as a director to build a team. Doesn't director imply there's already a team? Ian says, my hometown, right? Yeah, Larry, I had a conversation with a recruiter about that recently. They wanted like director of research / first researcher, and you're going to be doing the research 100% of the time, but eventually building up a team. And I said to them, I'm not coming into that job without another researcher there. You can't expect me to be the director and create standards and build up a team and spend 100% of my week doing the research because you have no other researchers. That's burnout city. I said, I think you need to hire 2 people there. And they said, well, we don't want to hire 2 people. I said, well, then you're going to burn out 1 person. Good luck. I don't have to take that job. And let's see, maybe they liked it because it said low ego approach. Maybe Udemy is a fan of my show. Who knows? But they're certainly not a fan of my courses because I'm thinking this got sent to me because during our show with Dr. Nick and Sophie, I had submitted my Transforming Toward Customer Centricity video course to Udemy, and it got rejected, saying that my voice was text to speech. It said, we do not allow text to speech for video courses. Please re-record it. And when I fought that, it was a bot. And the bot was like, no, you're still text to speech. And I'm like, no, I'm a person. So I'm a person fighting a bot about being a bot. And that was Udemy. And I eventually wrote to customer support. And they eventually got it fixed, but they did not write back to me, which I thought was interesting. They just quietly approved the course and said nothing to me, which I thought was strange customer support, because you would think someone would write back and say, sorry about your experience, boop bop a beep, we've fixed this. But they said nothing. And so my opinion of them continues to be lowered, but I put my courses on Udemy because some people just go to Udemy and search for courses, and that's where they look for stuff. So I've got to be there. All right, let's take a look at our last one. This was a long one, so I think it's going to take the rest of our show. I saw this get posted a couple of days ago. I did not respond to it at the time, but I guess I'm responding to it now. This came from Tom Mccormack, and it says, you're probably seeing this post because of the LinkedIn algorithm, i.e. it popped up in your feed and you didn't hit the bell to get notified my posts or navigate directly to this post. This simple fact reveals how much power the big social media companies have to influence what we see and therefore how we think. We know that algorithms reflect the biases of those who create them, and we know that the algorithms for LinkedIn and all other major social media platforms are proprietary, meaning we don't know how they work. This doesn't mean that everything the algorithms do is bad or harmful. In many cases, they may be sifting through a mountain of content to show us information that's most likely to interest us. But even that can be a problem because it can lead to an echo chamber effect that contributes to polarization and demonization of people who are in a different echo chamber. For more on this topic, check out Alice Thwaite. I might say that wrong, I apologize. Alice Thwaite's work, specifically her work on echo chambers and polarization. There are many steps we can take as individuals and as a society to start to address the issues with the proprietary algorithms that shape how we view the world. Some initial thoughts. He says, make algorithms public, simplify algorithms, give users the ability to decide how they want algorithms to work, give users the option to simply see content chronologically, invest in more research on the impact of algorithms and social media, pass legislation to prevent unethical use of algorithms, actively search for content that you aren't normally served in your current media diet, make connections in the real world and in your community. I'd love to hear your thoughts. So his post died in the algorithm. So he got 5 likes and 3 comments. And one of those comments was from himself. And then one was from the person he happened to mention who said thanks. So thoughts. What do you all think before I say anything? This is the Critical Thinking Show. What do you think about what he's saying? I know we've got a 40-second delay, so it looks like I'm sitting here doing nothing. So I'll say subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe here on YouTube and find 3 friends you know would love the Delta CX channel because they work in UX or CX or they would like to, and let them know about the channel. Costs them nothing. Come and hang out here with us in all of our live shows. And of course, anything you want to know about the show is at deltacx.com/links, like our calendar of events. What does everybody think about algorithms and echo chambers? What do you think? Hopefully you're writing something as I'm waiting. Hopefully nobody tried to send in a last-minute one. Sometimes y'all do that while I'm streaming. Somebody tries to send one in. I can't put it up. The live stream delay. Let's see what anybody have anything to say about echo chambers and algorithms? Maybe not. Okay, so here's what I think about that. We talk about echo chambers a lot, and we certainly talk about algorithms a lot. And I certainly have some opinions on this, considering YouTube is shadow banning me. And so I don't get the advantages of being part of the algorithm. I think that's unfair, and I think that's bad. But then I also recognize the technology that's behind it that's making it happen. Michael says, this must be done by the Department of Law in each country. When we have different legislations in different countries, but one medium to connect everyone, the social media's owner has the superpower. One world for all. Yeah, interesting point there. There are going to be different laws and approaches in different countries, and there's going to be different echo chambers in different countries. If you think about, and then echo chambers, we can't even tell what he's talking about. Is he talking about politics? Is he talking about religion? Is he talking about, we don't know. This post is very general. So for example, so there are some people on LinkedIn who I'm connect to who are very religious, and they will sometimes post about their religion or religious things going on, even though it's LinkedIn and it's technically a business networking site. They're talking about their religion, whatever religion that is, because we're probably all connected to devout followers of various faiths. Now, I'm non-religious, so I usually don't want to hear about someone's religion, especially on a business website, and so typically I'm looking to exclude that from my world. Now, you might say, Debbie is in a non-religious echo chamber. Debbie's just in an echo chamber of her own beliefs and preferences, blah, blah, blah. What about the person who is religion A? They probably want to hear more about religion A. Maybe they don't want to hear about religion B. Maybe they don't like or respect religion B. They want to be in the religion A echo chamber. Is that okay? Is that wrong? Is that unethical, immoral? Is it wrong for them to want to hear more of what their identity and community are about? And is it wrong for them to want to hear less of what they feel is not part of their identity or community? It's hard for me to say that the algorithm should show people all of these things and diversify, especially when we know about all of the cognitive biases and other things where even if the algorithm showed them this stuff, that doesn't mean people will read it, listen to it, develop an interest in it. There are times where Instagram, which is pretty much the only social media I use, and I hate it, will show me stuff that is definitely not for me. It will show me, I don't know, very young women who have clearly had extensive plastic surgery and are showing off their bodies. Okay, some people like that. Some people are that. I'm not interested in that, and I'm not going to be that. Should I see more of that? Or should I stay in my echo chamber of not that? Michael says, the decadence of minds is the starting point for the downfall of a civilization. But that's in the eye of the beholder, Michael, because who can say whose mind is absorbing the wrong information or going in the wrong direction? We're operating from the assumption that one thing is clearly right and one thing is clearly wrong. Now, we can say, for example, the war that's going on in Ukraine, the invasion of Ukraine, is wrong. But there's a group of people out there who are for it. Which group is, we think we're right. We think our perspective is the right one. And we stay in the echo chamber that says this invasion and this war is wrong. And Russia should be held responsible. Sorry to get political for a moment. But then there's another side to this, and those people just want to hear their Ukrainian perspective. Are they going to listen? Are they going to believe it? I think we have these story-eyed, dreamy dream ideas that if we expose people to these alternative viewpoints, that they're going to take them in. And that requires emotional intelligence, that requires maturity, that requires confidence, that requires an openness to things. It requires a self-awareness. I think it requires a really large set of human behavior and personality traits that most people don't have. Oh, clicks in quality. Clicks over quality seems to be the motto these days. Larry says there's dropouts in the video. Is anybody's stuff blipping? You're getting it too. Hold on, let me go back to my other screen. Looks okay so far. Sorry if there were some blips there. But anyway, we don't have to look at that article to talk more about it. Ultimately, while I think a lot more, my personal opinion is while a lot more work has to be done on algorithms and machine learning and AI, and while I think there is a lot of unethical stuff going on in there, I also don't necessarily know the right answer, because my gut reaction to the right answer is that people should hear things that are fair and caring and open-minded and things that help people. Like I would want to put that out there, but then that's going to knock out some political things. That's going to knock out some religious things. That's going to knock out some personal things. YouTube recommends videos to me all day long. Every night before bed, I watch an hour or two of YouTube videos. I've never been recommended a design thinking video. That's how smart YouTube is. YouTube can put me in the not design thinking echo chamber. Whereas some people who are into design thinking and into design sprints, they're not being recommended my videos because YouTube can tell the difference. YouTube can tell that these are very different messages, and one and the other tend to not collide. And I think that's part of why I'm shadow banned, because I'm technically the fringe. I'm the fringe, So I think it's an interesting thing to think about. So I don't know. I don't have the answer. I only know that we need to have more discussions about ethics and how this all plays out, because I think it's there are aspects of it that make sense to me, and there are aspects of it that I find very unethical. Like, I hate it, but it makes sense to me that YouTube isn't showing my videos to people who love design sprints. YouTube assumes these people are not going to like what I have to say. Now, the problem there is they don't know that. We don't know that the people looking for design sprint videos aren't looking for both sides of the story. The design sprints that worked and went well, and the people who are against design sprints and say don't run design sprints for these reasons. So I wonder if someone goes to YouTube and searches for something negative about design sprints, like don't run a design sprints are bad. Do my videos come up, or do they get the videos saying design sprints are great, everybody run them? So this is where I wonder how much that echo chamber is happening. If somebody searches for design sprints are terrible, do they get my videos, or do they get the design sprints are great videos? And then the question is, if YouTube is feeding them design sprints are great videos when they searched for design sprints, why are design sprints bad videos? Then is that still ethical? Is that still a good algorithm? So I have a lot of questions, but I mean, it goes much farther than what that guy posted. And then, of course, it's ironic that his post died in the algorithm and had like 5 people see it. So, womp womp. This kind of wraps us up for the day. Any other thoughts or comments from any of you? I know it got a little weird and heavy at the end there, but I think we have to talk about these things. Michael says, don't worry, Debbie, we're with you. You're the rebel they don't need, but the one that we deserve. Thank you. I don't think I have an appropriate superhero graphic that I could set off right now. I will set off this super dinosaur. So maybe. But thank you. Yes, I mean, despite being shadow banned on YouTube, I'm just going to keep doing this because I know that I'm helping people. And even if I'm helping people 10 people at a time, 20, 40 people at a time for the people who show up, or the hundreds who watch the video later, if I'm helping anybody, it's worth it. And it's just going to have to be organic. Y'all are going to have to tell people about the channel because YouTube isn't. And I've done some searches for my stuff in private browsers, and let me tell you, YouTube isn't. So I kind of rely on all of you to help me spread the word about the channel, because YouTube isn't. Ian says, I'd rather see that at an academic level, but when it comes to the personal and political, it's just so heated. It turns into nothing helpful. Yeah, it's really hard because everybody is sure they have the whatever's the one true God, whether that one true God is a God or design thinking or a political view or who's on the right side of a war. It's very difficult and very heated, and I usually stay out of all of that. But I think it's something we will have to think about. And I know some people, even in the community, are getting into UX jobs related to AI and ML and things like that. And you're going to have to face this stuff. And how do we do that? I don't have the right answer or an answer yet. I only know that it's complicated because I would say in general, I'd rather be in my echo chamber. I would rather be in my echo chamber of non-religious content. I would rather be in my echo chamber of non-political content. Like YouTube doesn't recommend anything to me that's political. They figured that out. So yeah, for a while there, I was getting like ABC News wrap up of the day, and I was like, do not want. And then now I don't get it anymore. So, I would have to say, as much as I don't like the idea of the echo chamber and the term the echo chamber, when I think about reality, I'd rather have the echo chamber for myself, just personally. I'd rather have the non-religious, non-political world. I don't want to be shown music videos that I'm not interested in. YouTube's guessing what music I'm into, and they can tell what music I'm into, so they show me similar bands. They're not showing me Madonna or unpronounceable people that I don't know about. So, that's the weird thing. It's, when you customize it to someone that well. And someone might say, well, Debbie's in this echo chamber. She needs to hear more opposing views and different stuff. I don't want to start hearing religious stuff. I don't want to start hearing crappy music. I don't want to start hearing right-wing stuff because I'm a more liberal person. Why would I want that? The liberal people don't want to hear right-wing stuff. The right-wing people generally don't want to hear liberal stuff. I don't know how you fix this. Now, I'd never say no to a little classic Madge. Who's Madge? I mean, I don't know if you mean, what? Oh, Madonna? You're right. I forgot they called her that. Michael says, echo chamber should be optional. It should be a getaway, but if it's not customizable and someone else does it for you, problem begins. Reality's distorted. Yeah, I forgot Madonna was Madge for a while there. Yeah, so I don't know what to do about any of this, and I'm not even going to try. Like, this is not my specialty. I do care about ethics, and I do think about ethics, and I don't know what to do with this stuff. I really don't. I think about what YouTube recommends to me. I could open up YouTube right now from my secret personal account and see. So it's a giant Ryan George. I'm a huge Ryan George fan. So yay, Ryan George. It's my own video, which is great. It says I'm live right now. Here I am. So it's got me. You're probably about to see me hold up my own phone because it says I'm live right now. That's nice. It showed me that I'm live, and now here I am holding up my own phone. Truly live. Stuff about Disney World. Everybody knows I'm obsessed with Disney World. Two-set violin. I'm obsessed with two-set violin. I've been watching a lot of stuff about Egyptian gods and stuff because I've been enjoying Moon Knight. Anybody enjoying Moon Knight on Disney Plus? Not sponsored. Yeah, I mean, YouTube's showing me stuff that I'm likely to be interested in because it matches the things that I've watched before, but not just watched before, but really consumed. Topics that I've watched over and over across different content providers or video, 20-minute videos that I watched every minute of. There you go. Anyway, I don't know what I've lost my point, but I thank you for hanging out and listening to my accidental sermon there. You're all too kind. But I guess we will wrap up, and I will say I hope everybody has a good and safe weekend. Remember to check the events calendar for all of the streams that are coming up. Please note that 3 weeks from today, I am going on vacation, and I am not sure if I'm going to do any streams from vacation. Really depends on how vacation-y I get and how the internet is. I'm hoping to still do office hours and maybe this stream, but I guarantee nothing. So if there's anything you need my help with, please try to get it before May 20th. Otherwise, I'm going to be a little bit harder to reach. Thanks to everybody who sent in this stuff. Have a super weekend, and please be safe and healthy, and continue taking some COVID precautions. And I will catch everybody on the Monday show. Have a good weekend, Elvina, and everybody else. Bye. Customer centricity as business intelligence. Visit deltacx.com to learn why we are